First, I want to thank Eddie and the Think Realty team for putting this event on. So can we first give them a round of applause just for bringing us all together? And the one thing that Eddie and I spoke about yesterday, he asked me about the requirement of diversification in your business. And I told Eddie that the only way any of us in real estate survive is by not being a one-trick pony. And for those of you who have been in for a couple years, you know when the market bottomed out in 2010, that was the whole thing. But even more recently, with COVID, when COVID happened, you couldn't go outside. Then rate hikes happened, everyone stopped buying, which means wholesalers stopped selling, buyers stopped buying, agents stopped agenting, lenders stopped lending. So what happened to the market, right? If you didn't have something beyond your one flipping operation, you pretty much took a beating. And I can tell you most of the people who were flippers at that time couldn't withstand that holdout and got into another industry. I'm saying all that to say that diversification is not something you should consider. It's a mandate in this business because y'all know how quickly the market can change. From COVID to these rate hikes to whatever it is, it can change pretty quickly. So I always like to start off anything that I'm doing as a fun fact about me, right? So just to not make everything just so hoity-toity business. So fun fact about me, I was on American Gladiators. And believe it or not, this picture in the top right corner, actually stood on the wall of my house next to my wedding photo. And for 4 years, my wife tried to get me to take it down, and I would not. Came home one day, it was gone, found it in the attic, put it back up. Next time, I couldn't find it, printed it back up and reframed it. So it's finally got me to take it down, but Hulk Hogan's arms was actually the size of my torso. So fun fact about me. Bottom left corner, I didn't realize I was afraid of heights, so I was climbing up that wall. And the guy that's pulling me off the wall is actually The Rock's cousin. So that's The Rock's stunt double who happens to be his cousin. So the fact that The Rock's cousin pulled me off the wall means that me and The Rock are technically best friends. So I'm best friends with The Rock. But the mission statement of what my entire enterprise is, to be an agent of change that provides opportunities that positively impacts people's lives and transform the real estate and investing and lending industry. The short version is, what I'm going to be speaking about is a way to transform not just your business, but we're going to be transforming an industry, right? You commonly hear that wholesaling is the easiest way to get into the business. Y'all have heard that statement, right? Use your words, use your words. Anyone not heard that statement? Okay. The reason why people say wholesaling is the easiest way to get into the business is because it's not the easiest, it's the cheapest. Wholesaling is fucking brutal. It's a brutal business. Any wholesalers in here? Okay. For those of you who don't know what wholesaling is, let me explain it. Wholesaling, you decide that you want to get into real estate, but you don't have a lot of money to spend. So it's a very long process. I'm going to talk fast. I'm from New York. This is actually my normal talking speed. I'm actually operating at half speed for this crowd. When you decide you want to get into real estate investing for wholesaling, you now have to go, okay, let me find someone who wants to sell their house in a distressed manner. Usually that's a landlord who's just kicked out a tenant, someone who's passed away, their relative has died, they're going through a divorce. So you're finding someone in a distressed situation to buy their distressed property, and a lot of times with some emotional distress attached to it. So once you identify that demographic, you now got to call hundreds of people to see who's interested in selling their house. Once you actually get to the people who want to sell their house, you got to find the people who are selling their house at a price that actually makes sense for you to sell at a discounted price. Now, everyone who's selling their house believes their house is worth more than what it is because they have sentimental value for that house. Are y'all with me so far? All right. On top of that, you're now dealing with someone who is grieving from a lost one, from a divorce or something like that. So you got to work through all the emotional anguish before you actually can start talking prices. Once you now identify this demographic that's willing to sell after the emotional anguish, you got to get to a price that makes sense for them. So imagine there's heavy churn on that. So by the time you make it through all of those people who finally get to a price that makes sense for you, you now have to go and find the real estate investor. Now, you gotta hoard through all of the fake it till you make it, tire kickers, the ones that I'm about to buy, just keep the deals coming, because next week I'm gonna buy, next week, until you get to the list of actual buyers. From there, you got to find that list of actual buyers that want to buy at the price that you want to sell. From there, you got to deal with some sophisticated real estate investors who will chisel you down to the gristle for the best price for that deal. So now you finally get to the point where you're really close, but they now decide that they want to make this deal $5,000 less for you. So now the $5,000 that you were going to make, you're now battling a guy like me for that $5,000, and I'm relentless and I'm not going to hold up. Matter of fact, the day before closing, I tell you, lower the price $5,000 or I walk. I've done that hundreds of times. By the time you make it through that and you close the deal, you've made $5,000, $10,000. Look how long it took me to explain that. Imagine how long it takes to actually do it. Wholesaling is not the easiest way to get into the business, it's just the cheapest. I left corporate 2011, started wholesaling, did that whole song and dance. Ended up, the guys that were buying deals from me, their deals kept falling apart. And they kept falling apart, and every time it'd be like, yeah, my lender changed the deals on me, I didn't have enough money, whatever the case may be. So I was like, hey, at that time I flipped like 20 houses. My lender was giving me 100% financing, closing in 5 days. I'm like, cool, just use my lender, solid. Close in 5 days, knock it out. Did that for about 10, 15 deals. I went to a conference. I'm telling everyone about my concept. It's a cool concept. I'm a lender, I'm a mortgage lender, so listen, I buy houses, I take people with bad credit, I'll fix up their deal, got real good at getting the house sales going. Wholesalers were taking all the money out of the deal, so I started buying houses on my own, got real good at start wholesaling. Can't really buy all the deals that I'm getting. The wholesale deals that I'm putting out, people aren't performing, started referring them over to my lender. Killer concept, right? I got all these avenues working. And the guy asked me, well, how much money do you make when you send the buyer to your lender? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, if you're sending, now mind you, I'm doing FHA loans. It is illegal to pay referrals doing FHA loans. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, if you're doing a referral to a hard money lender, you should be making a fee. I said, okay. So I called Clayton, that was the name of my lender. I called Clayton. I said, hey, Clayton, on the next deal I send you, will you pay me a fee if I send you a referral? He said, yeah. I said, Clayton, just curious. I've sent you like 15 deals and you've never paid me a fee. Why haven't you paid me a referral fee before? You know what his response was? You didn't ask. Clayton, on the next deal, can you pay me a referral fee? It's like, all right, got you. Next deal, referral, wholesale deal, referral fee. One deal, one transaction, 2 paychecks. I was like, oh, I like this. So now on my wholesale deals, call my guy, he's solid. Next deal, paycheck. Next deal, paycheck. Like 3 weeks later, Clayton calls me. Adonis, I need your wire instructions. I said, why? I haven't done a deal. He said, right, but you know Tim, who you sent me who you sent me a month ago, he closed another deal. We agreed that I would pay you. I need your wire instructions. And Clayton wired me $4,000. I said, well, shit. I said, it's pretty cool. Literally 4 days later, Clayton called me again. Samantha, who you sent me, closing the deal with her, $2,500. I said, Clayton, so you're saying that you're gonna pay me for every single person I send you, even if I'm not the wholesaler of record? He said, yeah, that's what we agreed to. I said, son of a bitch. From there, I was like, I called everybody. Hey, if you're in the business, real estate, if I've done anything, if I had a conversation with you, my lender, best in the game. No closing, no down payment, close in 5 days, and literally, boom. Next 30 days, I think I closed like 9 loans. Next 30 days, cranking them out. I said, this is not a revenue model. This is a business. I started brokering in 2013, made the business around brokering because I now control the flow of my business. There is no external factors. If I'm controlling the wholesale deal and I'm controlling the money, I can all but assure that my deals are going to close and I get paid twice for one transaction. It made perfect sense. So I started brokering, built that into a big thing, understood that the real money was not in real estate. The real money is not in real estate. The biggest demand in real estate is not real estate. It's, anybody? Money. The biggest thing in demand in real estate is not real estate, it's money. Everyone wants options for money. And when I realized that to be the source of truth, or that to be the truest statement in this business, my entire business now revolved around brokering money. I can flip deals, wholesale deals, everything around broker money. Became a direct lender in 2017, understood how the money actually worked. For 5 years, I was direct lender. 2022, launched my own fund where I'm currently raising $100 million to be a self-sustained business. I started out in engineering, and right now I have the L&H Capital Fund. And what I've learned is that by brokering someone else's money, by taking an investor and connecting them to a lender, I've made more money than my flip business, wholesale business, property management business, over 11 offices combined in a fraction of the time. When I broker private money loans, I don't knock on a single door, I don't talk to a single seller, I don't negotiate a single contract, and I made more money brokering private money loans than I did flipping houses, and I was flipping 2 to 3 houses every 45 days. I literally could make a phone call, do an email, and 10 days later, make $5,000, $10,000. Do that 2 or 3 times, I never once had to deal with the option of losing money again due to flipping, due to wholesaling. It's the easiest thing to do conceptually with absolutely zero risk to you as the operator. That's where the beauty about it, though, is that no matter what the market is doing, there's always a reason for money to be deployed. When the interest rates spiked, right, the flipping game paused. What did everyone do when they couldn't sell? Move the rentals, right? Lenders were doing DSCR loans. So guess whose business spiked? Guess whose DSCR business spiked? Guess who landlord, the investor rental loan business spiked? Right here. So while the rest of the market stopped, my business boomed. Something that simple allows you to pivot with the market, and no matter what the market is doing, there's always adjustment being made, and the people who are providing the capital make that adjustment, and you are able to adjust right then and there with them, okay? The cool thing about this concept is that it applies to everybody. If you are new to real estate, this teaches you the business. It teaches you how real estate works because you're doing loans for some of the most experienced investors. You hear their strategies, you hear what worked for them, you hear what didn't work for them, so you can actually learn what the best players in the game are doing because you're the one providing them the loans. The cool thing about it is that you're also learning from the lender. The lender is telling you why the deal is risky. They're poking holes in the investors' concepts, so you actually get to learn from the lender what makes the deal risky. So when you take a step back, you get to learn some of the best strategies, the most creative things these investors are doing, and then you get to learn what makes the deals risky. What are the things you should be mindful of, because the lender is the one who has the most to lose if this deal goes bust. So when you take a step back, you're learning from the people who are most vested in the deal, but you're learning off of someone else's dime, off of someone else's time. You're learning from the best, and it's not costing you $1 in risk. It's not costing you you're learning 10 years of strategy from your borrower, 15 years of risk from your lender. You are learning the game from the best people in it, and you're getting paid to do it. There's no strategy in the industry that allows you to do that. If you're an influencer, this is a concept that you can tell other people about. They get into it, and you can help facilitate the deals and get a part of every deal that they do. If you're a buyer or a wholesaler, like me, I was a buyer and a wholesaler. I picked up the phone, called 20 people, 10 of them closed a loan in the next 30 days. I made over $100,000 making phone calls to people who I was already in the business with, who knew I was wholesaling, who knew I was flipping. That became shooting fish in the barrel. If you're a general contractor, real estate agent, or a loan officer, just think your market, your network is all about real estate investors doing their thing. You have a built-in customer base. You can make the call and be like, hey, you should go talk to this lender, and a lot of times the people will call that lender just for nothing more than you told them to. If you are a mortgage shop, a lending company, you can take this concept and train people how to go about submitting deals. No matter who you are, this applies to you in every sense of the word. So, new to the game, active in real estate investing. If you're a licensed professional, if you're an influencer, or you're a mortgage shop, the strategy can be utilized for your benefit. Are y'all following me? All right. Once you understand the money, you understand the business. When you understand the business, you know how to make the business work for you. I learned how to build a rental portfolio for one of my customers. In 3.5 years, I bought 61 rental properties. I did rental loans for this one guy who was buying 4 a month. And at one point, I was just doing the loans. And then I said, you know what? I called him. What are you doing that you're buying 4 rental properties a month? I'm seeing your cash to close. You got to be balling out of control. He said, Adonis, leaving money in a rental property is the most insane thing you can do. What I do is I buy a fixer-upper. I buy not in the neighborhood, not the condition of the house. I buy strictly on economics. I buy my fixer-uppers at 70% of ARV. Purchase rehab must equal 70%. I refinance at 80%. I get 100% of my money funded. After down payments and everything, my project is funded at 70% all in. And when I refinance, I cash out 10%. I get 100% of my money back on every single deal. He said, I don't buy based on anything other than economics. I said, show me. Penciled it out. I bought 15 houses with the same $9,000. After that, I bought my next 30 with the same $13,000. I do not, in the last 2.5 years, I have not left $1 in my rental property. As a matter of fact, it got to the point where my strategy became, I would buy the 2 bedrooms, 1 bath with a 2-car garage, convert the garage, so I make a 2-bed, 1 bath, 2-car garage that's 900 square feet, 1,300 square feet after converting a garage of 4.2, 1,300 square feet is a much different back-end value than a 2-1, 2-car garage at 900 square feet. I was cashing out $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 every single rental property. You know who I learned that from? My customer. So not only was I making money learning the game, he actually walked me through how to do it. My first apartment complex, learned how to buy from my customer. New construction deals that I'm working on right now, you know who I learned how to buy from? My customer. My customers were actually walking me through deals while I was going through them. Imagine you're talking to someone 20 years in the game in a strategy you're about to walk into, and because you're making money funding their deals, they're teaching you exactly how they do it. And I'm gonna tell you, not one customer I've ever called to ask how they did it has told me no, because I'm helping their business grow. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, y'all can say it doesn't. Does that make sense? Yes. All right. Cycle of money is very simple. Wall Streets provide money to the institutions. Institutions provide money to lenders. Lenders provide money to investors. Once those deals fund, it goes to the note buyers. We show you just how to insert yourself in the transaction between the lender and the investor, and you get paid. You're not lending your money, you're lending theirs. You're lending money to people who are actively seeking money every single day. I have never once sold a hard money loan. I am a hard money lender. The moment I introduce myself as a hard money lender, what do you think is a person's immediate response that I'm talking to when I introduce myself as a lender? What do you think their response is? Anybody? Rates, terms, points? What just happened the moment I introduced myself as a lender? They introduced themselves as a customer. The first time they asked me a question, customer. I've never stood in front of someone like, listen, here's why you got to use hard money. Because a little bit, hey, I'm a hard money lender. What are your rates? Customer. Terms, customer. What's your customer? That's how easy it is to get a customer in this business. Crazy, right? When you actually think about it, first time, any of you active real estate investors, when you meet a lender, someone introduces themselves as a lender, your first thing to ask them is, what are their fees, terms, rates? You are now their customer. That's how quickly it is to get a customer in this business. The concept is simple. Step 1, you learn the business, everything about the industry. Step 2, in volume 2, you learn how to apply what you've learned, right? Everything you've learned is all about establishing a business. Don't get it twisted. The concept is simple. Connect an investor to a lender, you get paid. Conceptually, very simple. This is still a business. The business is not easy. The concept is simple. Does that make sense? I will get to that later. Step 3, teach you how to scale the business, right? It's one thing to learn it. It's one thing to establish it. In volume 3, you learn how to scale the business. And in volume 4, you learn how to actually hack private money to build your own real estate business, right? So we walk you through a very simple concept. 1, learn it. 2, apply it. 3, scale it. 4, hack it for your own benefit. The cool thing about this concept is that you do not have to be an expert in private money to start closing deals immediately. You need to know what to say, who to say it to, with a basic understanding of these principles. That's how easy it is for you to start closing deals. I'm a hard money lender. Hey, let me introduce you to a hard money lender. Lender, I got a referral. Can I get paid when you close? Yes, thank you. Conceptually, that is how it works. The cooler thing about it, though, is that when you are the money person, everyone gets paid when you perform. The investor, the seller, the agent, the title company, the insurance company, general contractors, none of them get paid until you perform. So everyone is vested in this deal closing because everyone's paycheck is hinged on you performing as the lender, which makes you the most valuable person in the transaction. Does that make sense to everybody? The cooler thing about it is that you can grow your business through everyone else's network. You hear this all the time, right? Your net worth is, I'm not about to say, I know there's at least a couple of real estate people in here. Your network is your network. Every real estate investor, wholesaler, real estate agent, loan officer, insurance agent, title company, general contractor, friends and family. I literally call every single one of them and say, hey, if you know someone who's doing real estate, tell them to give me a call because I want to help get their deal funded. I literally have access to everyone else's network because I'm offering the most in-demand thing in this business, and it does not cost me $1 to act on it. Everyone, your entire network is my network because I have the most in-demand thing in this business. Does that make sense? When it's done right, everyone in real estate becomes your customer or your sales agent. Every single person I talk to, if you're not interested in getting a loan from me, I ask you to tell someone to give me a call if they're doing a loan. Everyone I talk to is one of those two things. But when you do it right, when you hitch up with the right people, when you're actually presenting the right models, what tends to happen is people start to seek you out. You don't have to go and chase the business. People start calling you, hey, I got a referral from Jason. He told me that you do loans. Let me tell you about my scenario. I didn't spend 1 minute chasing that customer with the exception of asking my friend Jason to tell someone about me. When you do it right, your business goes on autopilot. It'll get to the point where more people are seeking you out than you're seeking them out, right? Because a lot of us are networked with a lot of people that respect us. So when I sit down for lunch with everybody, I'm telling everyone that, listen, I'm helping investors get their deals funded. Tell someone to give me a call. People are actually out there helping me grow because from nothing more than we're friends, family, something like that. When you do this right, you can make any amount of money you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. On my honeymoon, I was in Europe for 3 weeks. I closed 4 deals on my honeymoon. In fairness, before I'm seeing some looks, it was in Rome, so I was working from 1 a.m. to 5 p.m. That was peak hours here, so I was not taken away from my honeymoon time. I was working while she was asleep, and then I would sleep when we were in transit. So, ladies, it wasn't like that. But the coolest thing that came about this was that the lenders I was talking to, the lenders were helping me with strategies to grow the business. The customers were helping me with strategies to grow my investment, my real estate strategies. Everyone in every direction was taking their decades of experience and pouring into me because as a customer, I was funding their deals, helping them move their business along. For the lenders, I was bringing them business. So everyone was interested in helping me because I was helping their business. Does that make sense? And the more I started networking and finding the people who are doing bigger business, the more value, the more advice, the more strategies that started coming from them, which allowed me to become that much better as a real estate investor directly.
Belgian horses, strongest horse.
We got volume?
Belgian horses, strongest horse on the planet. Average Belgian horse can pull anything between 12,000 and 14,000 pounds. Now, did anybody major in math or accounting? If the average Belgian horse can pull between 12,000 and 14,000 pounds, how many pounds can 2 Belgian horses pull?
24 to 28.
Incorrect. Your math was correct. but you use logic. And the reason you use logic is because you weren't exposed to what Belgian horses can actually do. They should be able to pull 2 times their weight. But here's the beautiful thing about the strongest horses on the planet. When you yoke 2 strong horses together, and they're both Belgian, both of them are willing to overexert themselves to tell the other one, I'm setting the pace. That's how they get to 35,000 pounds. Belgian horses, it's the only people I hire from my team. It's the only people I even allow me to run in my circle. If you setting the pace in your circle and ain't nobody outpacing you, that's a problem.
My favorite video of all time. At first, I started brokering money to make money. When people started teaching me how to build wealth with their strategies, I said the only borrowers I want to talk to are the ones that are doing big things. So I started hiring so I can have people make us money, but I personally started pursuing the person doing 100 houses a month, that's owned 10 apartment complexes, that's building 50 houses a year. That's who I started making sure that I am doing lunch with. And you know how difficult it was to get in touch with that person? It wasn't. Because every time I met a builder, I said, hey, I'm a lender. I'd like to help fund your business. I'd like to see if I can offer some different solutions. Can we do lunch? And at the end of a 1-hour lunch, each builder was more than willing to sit down with me because I offered them the opportunity for just additional financing, but I'd like the opportunity to meet with them once a month to tell me how they did it. What worked? What didn't? The person who was buying 4 apartment complexes a year, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million. I'd like to offer you some financing solutions, but I'd like to understand your business. Tell me what worked, what didn't. How'd you do it? And one by one, city by city, by me offering a solution for their business, they started offering solutions for mine. This statement, that video, helped me understand the importance of network. And the more I realized that if I'm a value to someone else's business, they're going to be a value of mine and help me grow. And mind you, this is all while offering to fund their business with someone else's money. Think about the tens of thousands of dollars you've heard people pay to learn the business. And then you position yourself to get paid learning the business from the city, the states, the industry's best. That's what this gives you the opportunity to do. I'm always a big show me guy, right? So I actually was on stage doing this presentation, and someone from the crowd said, yeah, it sounds good. I was like, all right. All right. L&H Capital is the name of my lending company, right? What's that date? 2024, right? Y'all see that? It's recently. A broker bought me this deal. And I want to be very straight with you. This is a new construction deal, $3 million, right? Guy's building a 8,000 square foot house on the water. You know, it's not a $10, $20 million deal, very modest deal, right? So this deal is a little bit outside of my wheelhouse that I can lend internally as a lender. So I called up one of my lending partners. I said, hey, I got a $3.7 million deal, a little bit bigger than I want to fund in-house. I'm going to use your money to fund their deal, and then I need to pay the broker who brought me the deal. Lender looked at the deal, said, I like it. So the origination fee to L&H Capital, $102,000. That broker made $37,000, right? I negotiated a $47,000 yield spread. So on a $3.7 million deal, we collectively collected $150,000 in 17 days, and that broker made $37,000 in 17 days by calling me on the conference line with a broker and said, hey, Adonis, I got a builder who is building a deal. He got to close in a few weeks. I told you all about him. He wants to use you for the deal. And in 17 days, we've made $110,000 as a lender. The broker made $37,000 for a phone call. Name a single strategy in this business that allows you to do that. Denzel Training Day style, you can't do it. Can't do it. One phone call for this broker. But the cool thing I want y'all to pay attention to, Belgian horses. I told him the way I operated. He said, I need to be in the room with you. I need to understand what you're doing. I need to find that builder. He understood the value is going to come in the network. He went to the luxury build meetup, met all of the luxury builders, called them, called me, and said, I want to make an introduction. And 17 days later, $37,000 check. No one is deviating from the current real estate business. All they're doing is integrating this into what they're already doing, and they're getting paid for essentially making introductions. That's what this concept is. When y'all start thinking about all the people that you met, I see a couple wheels turning like, fuck, man, I done met such and such, I done made this referral. And just like that, as many people as you are thinking about, that's the exact same thing I said when this guy told me, man, just tell your lender to make a referral. And when I made those 30 calls, literally next month, almost $100,000. The same wheels that are turning for you right now is what was turning for me all those years ago. And it is that simple when you do it right. Conceptually simple. It is still a business that you have to master, that you have to get good at, that you have to put work into, energy into, and time into. Does that make sense to everybody? There's a very simple way on how to do it. Do not offer a loan product. When I meet someone, I don't tell them about my loan programs. I offer a solution for their business. That builder, it didn't, hey, how's it going? So let me tell you, we can do 90% LT. No, tell me what you're doing. I want to build a luxury house. Got it. What's more important to you? Getting the money deployed quickly, having low rates, having low fees. Tell me about your business model, right? Tell me about your business model so I can go ahead and understand what it is that I can do to help you. So once I understood what the business model was, I started asking more questions. Well, what would be an ideal situation for you? Do you want me to take my time, 30 days, to get you the best option possible? Or do we need to get this kind of moving along, get it done quickly because your offer price was based on, hey, I'll pay half price, but I'll close in 5 days? Or I'm gonna pay full price, but I need to get the best money. So for me to get on the phone and start pitching products was the exact wrong thing to do. What I needed to do was understand what the need was. And then from there, I started providing not loan solutions, business solutions. I started solving business problems. All right, so listen, your goal is to get money quickly, but your model is you're gonna hold this thing for 24 months. So getting you a cheap loan with a high interest rate doesn't seem to make a lot of business sense. It seems like what's more important is getting you some maybe a little bit more upfront with cheaper money on the interest rate so that down the long haul, you don't really feel that pinch. Does that sound about right? Yeah, that's exactly what the plan is. Got it. So listen, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna solve business problem 1, business problem 2, business problem 3, and then by solving their problem, I was able to identify the solution. Then I told them about the loan. Let me explain. When you are pitching products, you are a transaction. When you are pitching solutions, you are a relationship. Everyone that pitches products, I will beat them out every single time because I don't pitch products. I pitch business solutions. When people walk away, I am not just another product on a shelf. I am a Adonis. Here's what I'm trying to do. What do you think? And because the conversation starts with, what do you think? What that means is that they're looking for a solution they know I can offer, and they know that I'm not just going to pitch them on the highest this or the lowest that. I'm going to talk about how we help your business. And for anyone in this space, every time I'm competing with someone pitching their product, I will beat them out every time because I'm working on establishing a relationship, coming up with a solution with the vehicle being a loan product. Does that make sense to everybody? That's the business of this. The concept, simple. The business is an art. Present your value. Inquire about their business model. Validate the strategy. Provide solutions to the business. Solution through the product. Assure them your intent to perform. Solve their problem. Earn their business. That's what this concept is. Not just referring people to lenders. And I want y'all to notice, at first, I said connect an investor to a lender and get paid. That's the concept. The business is what we just described. Talking about solutions, understanding their problem, identifying their need. That's the business of this. Does that make sense to everybody? I know, it's heartwarming. Couple facts, and then I'm out of here. Do I need to get a license? No. You do not need to be licensed to act on this concept. How much does it take to become a successful broker? Because in this space, you're considered a broker. And I'll answer that every time someone asks me, what do you think, a month, 6 months, a year? My response is always the same. Your output is a direct result of your input. You put an hour a month in, you're going to get an hour a month of effort and response or solutions. You put 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week, whatever your input is a direct output on what your business is going to do. How do I know what lenders to broker to? We teach you. How do I find my customers? Most of you have already identified 5 or 6 people that you could call right now if you were to actually do this. How do I get people's private or personal do I have to get people's private or personal information? Not if you don't want to. Not if you're not ready for that. And actually, matter of fact, we'll actually be the ones to tell you you're probably not ready for that early on. But eventually, if you make this a full operating business, yes. Excuse me. Can I use this strategy for my own deals? I insist that you do. That's how I built 60-something rental properties in 3.5 years. It was these strategies built my entire real estate portfolio and my current real estate business now. Can I get paid on deals for my friends and family? Hell yeah. Matter of fact, let me double down on this. Do not ever do a homie hookup. Do not ever do a homie hookup. You know why you don't do a homie hookup? Tell me why. Why don't you do a homie hookup? They will expect it again, but even more, one, when they leave me, no one else is giving them a homie hookup. Why should I? But crazier part about it is they're gonna call their best friend. Hey, nah, my cousin just hit me up with a half a point deal. And so now their best friend's gonna be like, well, you gave James half a point. And now that's gonna become the narrative. Never do friends and family discounts. Y'all could have softened that up. Everyone, collaboration lives at the top, competition lives at the bottom. Thank you all for your time.